talk about the NCAA tournament because I think March Madness has been March Midness. And I say that because UCLA got eliminated and embarrassed by Tennessee. Didn't even show up. Mick Cronin, you were on the hot seat, my man. They gave you this roster. They gave you the NIL money you wanted. You handpicked these transfers, and you won one NCAA game, okay? Look, I have heard that Adayamar is probably going to be back, and they're going to be aggressive in the transfer portal. I don't want to talk about UCLA. What I want to talk about is the fact that one of the best things about college basketball is the upsets. It's the Cinderella teams, and we were very close. Colorado State, the horses were in tow. The carriage was out there. They had the ball gown on, but they just couldn't finish the job in their matchup. And the Rams, they lose. Colorado State loses to, was it Maryland, right?
Oh, yeah. Shout out to Derek Queen.
That was a nice shot.
That was
bang shot.
That might have got him drafted top 5. That might have guaranteed him a top 5 spot in the draft. That was amazing.
Oh, we got a little highlight here, too. Okay. Yeah, run that back. I mean, that was playing top of the key. And the Colorado State had just taken the lead.
Big three.
The big wing three. By the way, man. I feel bad for Bro's pops. You see him? He was dying, man. Yeah. He was dying in the crowd, and then he has to go and watch that. Yeah. So Maryland actually had lost a lot of games this season late. Mm-hmm. Finally, they get one on their side. But you look at the rest of this tournament, you had number 10, the 10th seed Arkansas beating number 2 St. John's, the 2nd seed. You had number 6 Mississippi. They pummeled Iowa State, but with the second round, I mean, you're just not seeing those upsets. The Sweet 16 will have no team seeded 11th or higher for the first time since 2007. No Cinderella stories, no Loyola, Chicago's, no Sister Jeans this time around. You're not seeing the VCUs. You're not seeing that, right?
Yeah.
And, yeah, look, McNeese State, they were going to do it with your boy.
Shout out to my guy, Amir Khan.
Shout out to your boy, Amir Khan. Helping the channel out, Amir Khan.
Yeah, shout out to Amir Khan, man.
Shout out to Amir Khan.
For sure.
But, I mean, you're not seeing those. I mean, it was great to see we did get the buzzer beater, which I like. And I do, the teams that are remaining, like Duke's still in it. I think that's going to be big. I think, honestly, that Florida UConn game, I feel for you. But I think Florida, and I like Dan Hurley coming off the saying, hey, Baylor, hope they don't F you like they F'd us. Yeah. And I like, that guy's a trip, man. That guy's wired. Do you see he told his assistant like to be quiet?
I love him
during the thing. Yeah,
I love it. He's maniacal, crazy scientist.
When you win natties, when you win back-to-back natties, when you do that kind of stuff, you get away with that kind of stuff because there's a method to your madness. But the question here is NIL ruining the Cinderellas. I think it's too small of a sample size to say that just yet. I think that NIL certainly has the potential to make this tournament as top-heavy as it's ever been. Yeah. Because the great players are going to go to the great programs because those are going to be the ones that are generating revenue, that are going to pay players. But I just brought up UCLA, and I can tell you that UCLA, from a basketball standpoint, has a top 5 NIL when it comes to men's basketball, right? They are willing to pay. I can tell you this from inside information. They went to Mick Cronin and said, how much money do you need? They gave him $7-8 million. He got the roster he wanted. There was Eric Daly was a big transfer from Oklahoma State. You got Tyler Bilodeau from Oregon State.
Clark.
You got Sky Clark from Illinois, who I think is going to be back and be a good piece for them. You paid to retain guys. You got Kobe Johnson from USC. He transferred over. Eric, you had Kyle Williams. All these transfers, right? They were paying them millions. They lost in the second round.
Yep.
So for all these people that are saying that NIL is ruining the Cinderella story, I don't buy it. I do think it makes for a slightly less entertaining NCAA tournament. But having said that, I want to say something.
Go ahead.
Cinderella is the most overrated thing that we have in sports because you act like you want it. You act like you want it. And then the Final Four comes around and you got VCU.
Yeah.
Nobody wants that. Give me the Blue Bloods. Give me the brand names. You know why? Those have the best players. And one thing we talk about college basketball on the women's side, one thing I miss is seeing more NBA talent on the floor during the Final Four, because it hasn't been the same in the one and done era. Guys like Villanova have been kind of an exception with those teams with Brunson and Hart and those teams, the UConn team, I think last year with Castle and Klingon. The truth of the matter is, to win a championship, you need a couple NBA guys. And yeah, it hasn't been the best tournament, but I will say it has been a little, I think for people that want to see all these, these Cinderella teams, be careful what you wish for.
Yeah, I mean, for one, I know the gamblers are upset. My sports bettors are not loving this year's March Madness. I mean, the favors are clearing house. I mean, honestly, D-Mac, yeah, I guess you could argue NIL is ruining the Cinderella stories, but it's just there's no longer be any Cinderella teams. But those Cinderella players are just wearing these Power 5 team jerseys. Like, all they're doing, Walter Clayton, who plays for Florida, do you know where he started his career? He went to Iona with Rick Pitino, then went there, followed to St. John's, and went to Florida. That elite shooter that just played at Drake, he's following his coach to Iowa. This happens all across the country. We're in a new age. There was a graphic, D-Mac. I wish I would have put it on the show today. The graphic showed every roster of the remaining teams and where they originally went to school. Only Michigan State and Purdue were the only two schools that have 4 of their 5 starters started their careers at Purdue or Michigan State. Everybody else, every other school is a transfer, except maybe, and even Arkansas, John Calipari, who is known for freshmen and his original recruits, they have transfers. So, I mean, the problem is, it's not that, I don't think it'll necessarily kill it, because I agree with you. The sample size is just way too small. We just got here.
My thing is, like, J-Rob, like UConn, it wasn't UConn this year because they were 8th seed, right? But UConn the last couple of years, they've been highest seed, they've gone deep, right? They joined, they're firmly in the blue blood conversation, right? They're one of those groups, right?
No question.
But for people out there, like, why the hell would you want McNeese State? And the bigger problem to me is not the fact that McNeese State or Colorado State aren't still in the tournament. It's, no, Duke and Kentucky still are. Right?
Yeah, like, why do you want to see McNeese State versus?
Yeah, it's fun. It's like kind of one of those things. It's like, it's fun for a while, but at the end of the day, you want to see the best teams playing. And you look at the metric.
Yeah, I agree.
The top 8 teams. So Ken Palm is kind of like this really great advanced evaluator of how good teams are at the college basketball level. And it's kind of the holy stat for just how to rank teams. At AP, who cares? Coaches poll, who cares? Ken Palm really doesn't like it in college football, but the top 8 teams in Ken Palm are still in there. The lowest rated team in Ken Palm is Arkansas, and they were 36th. And they were still a really good team in the SEC. So the truth is that there's a lot of really good teams in there. You're still going to have a lot of heavyweight fights in the last 15 games. And I think that's the number one thing. Like people, it's like, Antonio, like indie rock bands. Like, no, like, give me like Led Zeppelin, bro. Like Rolling Stones, you know what I mean? Like, No. Underground rap, a couple songs are cool, right? Yeah. At the end of the day, give me DMX.
Honestly, I love that you said that. I think that's the best point. We want to be the biggest and brightest, no question.
When Cooper Flag gets eliminated, that's when this tournament's taking a hit. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
Yeah.
I think Arkansas is exciting too. And it's fun that you said they were at the bottom of the Ken Palm, because it's weirdly enough, D-Mac, they feel like the hottest team in the tournament right now. Since then, so it could go either way.
For sure. By the way, I saw, because you remember that did you know this about Calipari and Rick Pitino? Like, apparently they weren't cool. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, they both, and the thing that made them cool, you could tell they're both old school coaches, because when the reporters asked them both, they gave the same answer. He was at Louisville. I was at Kentucky.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Well, what do you think our relationship was like?
And Patino's had his controversy.
Yes.
There was this funny tweet from these comedians, the Sklar brothers. I love them. They're twins. They're actually Michigan dudes. They're hilarious guys. They tweet out, because you saw his jacket. I don't know if you saw his jacket.
Yeah.
They tweet out, Calipari is wearing the tablecloth from the Italian restaurant where Pitino had sex with that waitress for 15 seconds, the ultimate troll job, hashtag NCAA tournament. So, yeah, I mean, I was absolutely dying when I read that. But look, the tournament is still fine. I'm telling you, as a tortured UCLA fan, NIL does not buy you tournament wins. It's a part of the calculus, but it is not the entire piece of the puzzle.